Awesome. So whenever you're ready, you can make your way on down. Start to drop into your body. You can stretch, wiggle, move around in any way that would feel good to you. To kind of notice how your body's feeling this morning. Just getting a general sense of how things are. Maybe full body stretch or bring the knees into the chest. Kind of checking in. And then for our kind of warm-up breathing, we'll grab your strap or your band, whichever one. You can use either. And we're going to go into a supinated position. So it's an underhand grip. Your palms are going to be facing your face. And then, so your elbows are bent at about 90 degrees. Palms are facing your face, right? And then you're going to lightly, okay, moderately lightly, pull the band apart and lift the shoulder blades up. Okay, so shoulder blades come up and you're lightly pulling the band apart. You don't need to go crazy here. And then I want you to connect to the lower half of your body as well. So just gently tug your heels towards your butt. Also doesn't have to be a super intense effort, but just some dragging back of the heels. And we're going to go ahead and tuck the pelvis in that same place. So think belt buckle tilts towards your face. Don't overly squeeze your butt from that. Try to tuck under with your hamstrings and your low belly. And we're going to do about 5 breaths here. Okay. So you're inhaling, filling up your back of your body. Exhale. Like you're blowing out birthday candles. Get all the air out, all your core muscles. We're going to give your spine a hug. We're going to work on holding a little bit of tension in the core and then inhaling and filling up while you continue to pull the band apart. So the shoulders are going to get tired from this, right? Mine are already feeling it just after a couple of breaths, but keep all these pieces. We got feet are flat on the ground. We got a tucked pelvis, heels dragging back. We got all our core muscles hugging in towards the spine and shoulder blades up, okay? Good. From there, you can let your shoulder blades relax on the ground. Keep this this arm position, but now tip your pelvis forward. So create a baby arch in your low back, and we're going to slowly reach our arms back as we exhale. Inhale, come forward. So now I want you to really think about your mid-back bra strap area of your spine staying glued to the ground as you reach your arms backwards, and you're still pulling the band apart, but by now it might be even less than you started with. Yeah, and if your shoulders, wrists, forearms like are starting to burn or really feel it, you're right on track. But try not to flare your ribs out of your body. Your arms they're going back and down a little bit. Yeah, on the exhale. Good. And our core is in a more lengthened position now. So we'll do one more. Great job. And then you can go ahead and lose the band and we'll open the arms. Okay. Imagine someone was playing tug of war with your hands, pulling you apart in either direction. Okay. Just a bit of a stretch there. Then curl your fingers in to make a fist. Curl your thumb around your 4 fingers and then curl your fist in towards your shoulders. Okay, and then you'll open everything, uncurl and open the palm, and then curl in to make a fist, and then curl your fist in towards your shoulder. Do that a few times. Awesome. Okay. From there, we're going to grab the strap or band again and also stick a yoga block like the narrow way between your inner thighs. For the band this time, do an overhand grip, okay, but still about shoulder width apart. So kind of like you're punching up towards your ceiling. And then connect to your mid back on the ground. That's going to stay glued, and lift the knees halfway up. So knees are over hips. Okay. We're gonna do a couple of things here. So the first one, okay, you're gonna breathe in where you are. Exhale, reach your arms back a bit, legs forward a bit, but not a ton, like just maybe halfway with each. Okay, knees are still bent, arms only go as far back as your mid back stays on the ground, and then everything comes back to center. Okay, I want you to do the reach on your exhale. You're pausing there for a moment or two, and then everything comes back to center. Keep that mid back glued into the ground. You can hug that yoga block. Good. So now we're going to connect inner thighs, core, and get the shoulders moving a bit. You can still pull the band apart. Okay, but my shoulder blades are actually resting on the ground. They're not lifted up. Let's do 2 more like this. Awesome. Then we'll come to center. Now, as your knees go a little left, you're going to reach your arms a little to the right. So rib cage is right, pelvis is left, and then pull yourself up through center. And then rib cage goes a little to the left as your knees go a little to the right, and then everything to center. And we'll alternate back and forth. Nice job. So some counter rotation at the rib cage and the pelvis. You can squeeze the block and pull the band apart. Try to maintain as much control as you can. You don't have to go super far. We'll go 1 more to each side. Beautiful. And then we'll take a rest. You can lose the band, lose the block. We'll go back to nice wide arm position, but this time we'll add in our windshield wipers. So as the knees look right, the head and the eyes look left. As the knees look left, the head and the eyes look right. We're just alternating back and forth a few times. Great. Okay, so then we're gonna get into some bridging work. We'll go actually with bilateral at first, and then we'll switch to single leg after. So we'll keep the feet about hips width apart, feet facing forward. You're gonna scoop your pelvis under, so tuck, okay? So belt buckle towards face. You're gonna roll up a bit, okay? Then we're gonna pause with your hips up. They're not super high though. Like I'm not way up here. My mid back is definitely on the ground. Maybe even, yeah, low back can lift, but keep the mid back on the ground, and then tuck the pelvis a little more, and then start to drag your heels towards your sits bones with a moderate effort. And then just imagine what it would be like if you took your right foot off the ground. You're not going to take the right foot off the ground, but just imagine what muscles would have to kick on, what you would have to do to make that happen, to lift the right foot without dropping your hip or anything changing in your pelvis. If you had to lift the leg without changing anything. Good. Now start to lift your right heel. Okay, so you're getting more and more body weight into your left leg. You're gonna brace your abs a bit. Now see if you can actually lift your right foot for like 2 breaths off the ground, trying not to change your pelvis. You might not actually lift it. If you kind of lost your position or doesn't feel right, then don't actually lift. You don't need it. You'll feel just a ton of work without it. Okay, and then if you lifted it, bring it back down. Okay, we're gonna keep the hips up, stay tucked a little bit, drag the heels. Now start to imagine what it would feel like to lift your left foot up off the ground. So your body weight's gonna go a lot into your right leg. You can start to lift your left heel. Okay, and then if you want, you can stay there and breathe, or you actually lift your left foot, but only choose that option if you can maintain your stable pelvis, like a hip didn't drop, nothing too funky happened. Good. We'll bring the left foot down and then see if you can play with it on the other side one more time. So start to lift the right heel. Imagine lifting that right foot. It might lift, it might not. Stay tucked in the pelvis, braced in the abs. Okay. And then we'll do the left leg one more time, lifting body weight on the right. You might feel like one side is way easier than the other. Okay, that might happen. Okay, good. You can bring the left foot back down. And then we're going to roll the spine all the way down. Untuck the pelvis. So tip your pelvis forward away from you. Okay, then tuck under. And we're just going to roll up and down a few times. Just kind of getting a little bit of spinal segmentation here. Nothing too crazy. Try to stay connected to the backs of your legs. So it's not really like your low back is the primary part, like mover of this. You want to think about your heels dragging towards your butt and tension in the backs of your legs, helping to lift your hips as well as your core. But you're not really lifting from your low back. Good. Okay. From there, we're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest. Right knee in towards the chest, and the movement, you're going to do your little tilt forward again in single leg. So your belt buckle tilts away from you at the bottom. Then you tuck under, and you're going to start to roll your spine up with your left heel up. So left heel up, and you rolled up on a single leg. Okay. Now as you're going to roll down, bring your left heel down and tip your pelvis forward. Okay. So you tuck under, roll up. As you're rolling, your left heel comes with you. It comes up. Then as you roll down, once your hips hit the ground, your heel comes down, and then you just tip your pelvis forward. Okay. You can have your arms on the ground for a little bit of support. Okay. I always think it's kind of helpful to, sometimes I just kind of rest my hands on my core and just kind of feel what's going on there. It can be helpful just for your brain to kind of know we want those abs working as we do this. Okay. And you're lifting the heel as your hips come up, staying tucked, and then heel comes to the ground as you come down. Let's do one more. Great job. And then you can bring the right foot down and bring the left knee in towards you, right? So you tip your pelvis forward here. You're going to start to tuck under and start to roll up. As you roll up, your right heel comes up. You'll roll down, heel comes down, pelvis tips forward. Okay. This left knee, it kind of just it pretty much stays in place as you roll up. When you come down and you tip your pelvis forward, the knee's gonna kind of roll away from you a little bit and then roll in towards you as it comes up. Okay, so you're kind of letting it go with your pelvis motion. Good. So hips up, heel up, hips down, heel down, pelvis tips forward. Beautiful. Let's do two more. Love it. Okay. And then let's bring the right knee in to meet the left, and we'll do our big hip circles here. One can go clockwise, one can go counterclockwise. We'll go for a couple in each direction. Beautiful. Okay. And then we'll roll over and we're going to go into some side planking work. So you can come onto your right. I'll come onto my left and I'll mirror you. You don't need anything for this. So we're going to go onto the forearm. If you're doing flat palm, I would just take a second and kind of like press the forearm and the hand into the ground, just kind of solidify that connection. Otherwise, you're on the pinky side edge. Okay. We're going to go knees stacked. If you had your knees right in line with your hips, then just move them down an inch. Okay. And then try not to be like very open here. You want to kind of be actually turning a little bit towards the ground before we even come up and starting to get in touch with these right side ribs, lifting up and away from the ground. So your oblique muscles are going to engage to lift you up here. Okay. From there, we're going to go ahead and lift the hips up. Good, 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 good. Okay. From here, you're going to thread the needle. So this left hand is going to reach under your right armpit. You're going to rotate your sternum towards the ground. Reach, reach, reach. Then you're just going to rotate and pull your elbow up and then reach your arm all the way up and keep turning your sternum away from the floor. And then you're going to rotate Go back down, thread the needle, breathe in, fill up those side ribs. Exhale as you open up. Okay, keep driving the outer edge of your right knee into the ground. Okay, if you wanted more of a challenge, you might not need, you can lift your top leg and you could just lift it up and keep it bent, or even more of a challenge would be to straighten this top leg like that. Any of them are good options. We'll do one or two more. And then we'll make our way back down. And we'll want to shake out this arm, probably the shoulder, maybe swirl it out. Yep, or check in with your neck, head. Okay. And something like this you can always do with your hips down as well if it felt like too much on your shoulder. So just make sure you're really tuning in, listening to your body, not doing anything that's irritating. No need. Okay, we're going to come on to the left side. So if you stacked knees on top of each other, you just move them down slightly, right? Now you want to think about this left side body arcing up and away from the ground. So you're like shifting your ribs up towards the ceiling, okay? From there, we're going to lift the hips up. It's optional though, because you can do the same thing without lifting. Okay, from here, you're going to turn your sternum towards the ground, thread the needle, reach that right arm under the left. You're going to rotate away from the ground, pull up with the elbow like you're rowing, and then reach the arm all the way up. Okay, and then you'll go back into it. Now, keep driving the outer edge of your left knee into the ground. Okay, and we're not really rotating the hip. Like the hips rotate a little, but it's mostly the upper back and the rib cage that we're focusing on rotating. And then if you wanted a little bit more, you could lift that top leg just a little bit, or you could extend it out. Any of them are good options. We're always breathing in as we thread the needle, exhaling as we open up, staying connected to the outer edge of that left knee as best as you can. Super good. We'll do one more. And take a rest. Really nice. And then you'll probably want to shake out the left arm, maybe move the head around a little bit. Awesome job. And then we'll transition into tabletop. So you can get your knee padding, set up our yoga blocks at the top of the mat. All right, so we're gonna go palms under shoulders, knees under hips, usual for a second, and then work on your collarbones staying forward. So if you had headlights on your collarbones, the headlights shine forward. If you had taillights on your back pocket, then that's shining straight back, okay? And as you rock back and forth, just gently create a little tension at your knees. So you're kind of pulling your mat apart just a little bit as you reach your butt back. Good. And then what we'll do, just step your right knee, but it's really, your foot's attached to it. So your right leg, we'll say, your right leg forward and your left hand forward. So right leg, left hand, and then see if you can rock your body back and forth here as well, trying not to tuck under. So you're just not going to go very far back. Okay. And so right now your left hip is behind your right. So you're shifting back into that left hip, just finding the end range there, right? It'll probably feel a little bit restricted. Yep. And then rocking forward. Good. We'll just do one more. Nice. And then you can slide your hand back in line, leg back in line, and then take a step forward with your left leg and your right hand, and then rock back and rock forward. So now the right hip is slightly behind the left. It'll probably still feel restricted. You're just shifting your right hip back towards your right heel, finding that end range. You'll come up against it pretty quickly. And then you just rock it forward. Nice job. Okay, we'll do one more. Beautiful. And then you can slide hands and knees back in line with each other. Okay, from here, we're tucking the toes. You're gonna lift your rib cage up towards the ceiling and shine those headlights forward at the same time. We're gonna lift the knees and inch off the ground. And then we're gonna pause here for about 5 breaths and drag our hands and feet towards each other. Think of pulling your core muscles in towards your spine as you stick your butt up a little bit. So you're really staying open at the glutes, and you're just trying to maintain this position nice and strong. Probably have like 2 breaths left. Should start to feel really hard. For sure, 5 breaths of this should be like, okay, I'm good. And then you're gonna reach your hips all the way up and back. Big stretch into downward facing dog. And then go ahead, rock it forward, hover the knees 1 inch. Rock your hips up and back to the left. Rock forward, hover 1 inch off the ground. Rock your hips up and back to the right. Hover the knees, and we'll do 1 more in each position. So straight back, rock forward, knee hover, back and shifting into the left, rock forward, knee hover, up and back shifting to the right, rock forward, knee hover, but knees can come all the way down. We're gonna then walk our hands back towards our knees, round our spine, and roll all the way up segmentally to your tall kneeling. Nice. So, okay, from tall kneeling, you're gonna take your right foot out to the side like this. So I'm gonna do the same side as you, but if I turned, it would be my right heel in line with my left knee, and I'm gonna tuck my back toes under as long as that feels okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll say angled so you can see. So if my hands are on my hips, my right hip is probably feeling higher. I want you to just tick-tock the hips a few times. So try to drop this right hip down and see what that feels like, and then let it tick-tock up. So you're just kind of moving the hips, like hiking and dropping. Okay. Now do your best. Like they're not going to be perfectly level. That's fine. Or maybe they will be, but do your best to level them out, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. From there, you're going to take your right arm inside your right inner thigh. Okay. And your left arm out in line with your shoulder. Okay. And you're going to start to slide your arm down your leg as you drive your knee towards your second toe. Pause here and get very heavy through the ball of your right foot and your heel both, and push through the foot to come back up. So I really want you to pause and make that connection. So you're going to slide the arm down and bend the knee forward. Keep your heel connection as you go towards your second toe. Now get heavy through your right foot and push yourself up. So it's like a little different when you really focus on pushing through the foot. So you glide forward, you pause. You can push your arm and your inner thigh together and then push through the foot. Okay, so now you're going to go forward. Okay, the knee goes forward. Now you're going to side bend towards your right leg and reach your left arm alongside your left ear. Stay connected to the heel and the ball of the foot both. Then you're going to lift your bottom arm up. Okay, so yep, and this should feel pretty hard. Okay, take like 1 more breath and then push yourself all the way up. We're going to bring the arms all the way down to the ground in this position. So I still have my right, like same legs, but then your hands are going to come down to your mat. It's going to be a little awkward. Okay. That's okay. And then think of pulling your right knee back in space so you stay open at your right hip. And we're going to try to reach the left arm forward and the right arm forward and just see what we feel. Probably going to get a lot of sensation potentially in your right hip, maybe some right inner thigh. Try not to tuck your pelvis, and you're just alternating reaches. Yep, try to keep the headlights forward. Yep, if it feels really hard, walk your hands on your blocks. It'll be a little less hard. You'll be like have a little more range. Yeah. Good job. Okay. And then you'll go ahead, bring your right knee in to meet your left. Awesome. From here, step forward with your left leg in your right hand. So left leg, right hand took your step forward, just like before. Now we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to hover the knees 1 inch off the ground and hold it for about 5 breaths. Okay, so think of dragging your hands and your feet towards each other. Your belly button is giving your spine a hug as you're sticking your butt up towards the ceiling. Good. So 5 breaths is not a short amount of time to hold this. Things will start to feel really hard, but then you're going to reach your hips up and back in this position. So your right hip is behind your left. You're inhaling into that offset down dog. Exhale, rock forward to your knee hover. Inhale, hips up and straight back now. Exhale, knee hover. We'll do one more. Yep, in this offset position. And then bring your knees all the way down. You're going to bring your left knee back to meet your right. Slide your right hand back. And then we're going to walk the left arm forward and the right leg forward. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. So we're going to tuck the toes. Okay, and if lifting the knees is too much, you can actually play with lifting just one knee and still dragging your hands and legs towards each other, right? Or you can keep the knees down and just practice holding this position, which is totally valid, okay? If you want to hover the knees, you're going to exhale, lift your knees, keep dragging your hands and your feet towards each other. Try to stay long in your trunk. Your butt is slightly sticking up, so headlights are forward, taillights are shining backwards. Staying with the breath, staying connected to your core. And then you'll reach your hips up and back, push through your hands. Now your left hip is shifted behind your right, okay? And then rock forward, knee hover. We'll do it 2 more times. I have a little more weight in my left foot when I do this, and I'm kind of trying to lengthen my left hip as far back as I can get it. And then I'm rocking forward. Good. Or maybe not even more weight. It's like more awareness through that left side so you can get some good length. Yeah, good. And then you'll go ahead, bring your knees down, line the hands and knees back up, but then go ahead, walk your hands all the way back towards the knees, round the spine. We're going to roll on up. And then we're going to step the left foot out. So your left heel is in line with your right knee. We'll tuck the right toes under and we'll do our little hip tick-tocks here at first. So my guess is the left hip will be a little higher than the right. You want to kind of drop it down, tick-tock it up just a few times, and then aim for them going more in line with each other than not, but it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Left arm is going to come inside the inner thigh. Right arm goes out in line with your shoulder. Now you're going to glide your arm down your leg as your knee travels towards your second toe. You pause out here, get heavy through your left foot, the heel and the ball of the foot, then push yourself up. Okay, make sure you have good knee padding if you need it. So you're going to slide forward, you pause, you get heavy through the foot, push yourself up. So even when you go forward, you don't want to lose your heel contact. Okay, heavy through the foot, push yourself up. So now on the next one, you're going to pause. Okay, you're going to reach your right arm alongside your right ear. Big stretch. Then you're going to reach your left arm alongside your left ear. You keep leaning over that left leg. The knee is tracking towards the second toe. And then we'll push through the foot to come all the way up. From here, you're going to keep your heel under your knee and bring your hands all the way to the mat or to your blocks. So if you had a really tough time last time, I would do the blocks. It'll just feel better. Yeah, don't hesitate to do that. So then from here, you're going to reach one arm forward alongside your ear. You come down and then you reach your other arm forward. You want to be mindful of your core. So your core is what's making this happen in theory, hopefully. Okay, but you're also going to feel probably a big stretch in your left hip and left inner thigh. Try not to tuck your pelvis as you do this. It's going to be really tempting to round your low back. Try to keep it untucked as best as you can. Good job. And then we'll bring the left hand down and the left knee back in to meet the right. We're going to tuck the toes, send the hips up and back to your classic downward dog. And then we're walking the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat. We're going to bend the knees, take a yoga block with us. We'll round the spine and you can do a few rotations side to side here, loading into one leg and then the other, staying as rounded through the whole back as possible, looking for some nice stretches through the side of the spine and maybe down into the hips and the low back. And then once you feel complete side to side, you'll root down through the feet and continue rolling. all the way up. Awesome. All right. So then once we arrive, just do a gentle kind of weight shift side to side, right? Over to the left, over to the right. And then we'll even out the weight, right? I want you to kind of imagine your rib cage was getting lifted up off your pelvis, like you were growing taller, literally, okay? Block is between the palms and you're pushing them into the block. And then we're gonna reach the arms all the way up to frame the ears, okay? Root down through your feet as you side bend over to the right. Keep reaching your block to the right. Try to stay in touch with your right side obliques and your left side obliques, okay? Shift your hips to the left. Keep reaching that block to the right, hips to the left, then pull yourself up to center. Then we'll shift hips to the right, reach the block to the left. Now checking in left obliques and right obliques. So the right ones are lengthened but working. Left ones are in a shortened position but working. Shift your hips a little further. Pull yourself up to center. We're going to bend the elbows and plant the block behind the head here, and then open the elbows wide. From here, you're going to bend your knees and start to scoop your pelvis under. So belt buckle towards face. Shift your weight into the balls of the feet and start getting your hips as far forward as you can with the tucked pelvis and the bent knee, and start turning your belly button, your sternum up towards the ceiling. It should feel like a big stretch through the front of the body. Try to keep your shoulders wide. Keep opening up. And then start to shift your weight back into your heels. Reach your block up and all the way down. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go into some lunge, hinge, lunge, stand variations. We've done stuff like this before. It's just been a little bit. We'll start with the right leg in front today, and the left foot in back. And you're in, I would say it's about 1.5 steps back, depending on, if you have longer legs, it's probably a little further back, shorter legs, probably a little closer, okay? Front heel down, back heel up, okay? So we're gonna go down into a lunge, actually. So it's gonna be like a shortened stance lunge, and you're gonna reach your arms in line with your shoulders and try to stay as upright as you can. You're gonna drop down, okay? From down here, you're gonna start to send your butt straight back behind you. Your block comes under your shoulders, and you transition that into a hinge, okay? So in this position, you want headlights forward and try to untuck your pelvis and hug your core muscles into your spine. So you want to lengthen the right glute and hamstring. Okay, so that was the hinge. Now you're going to transition back into the lunge. Try to get your pelvis under you, sit down, and then we're going to push through your feet and stand all the way up. And if you felt like your back foot, you wanted it further back, you can always wiggle it back. Or if you want it closer, you can always move it closer. Okay, kind of follow your intuition on that. So we're gonna go lunge, block comes in line with the shoulder. Okay, yep, yeah, I felt like I needed to wiggle mine back a bit. And then you're gonna go into your hinge. Yep, push your hands into the block here. Find this tension through the back of the leg, the glute and the hamstring. Good, you're gonna sit back down. Now, push your feet through the ground, especially this right foot, as you stand all the way up. Nice job. So we're going through it pretty slow. So hopefully you're getting all the sensation. So you're going to sit down. Yep. And now butt back, like you're trying to show the wall behind you, your butt, your arms come under your shoulders. Okay. You're going to go back into your lunge and push through the feet to stand all the way up. Beautiful. From here, we're going to get nice and dynamic. Keep your foot position as is. Take your block vertical outside your right hip. So not horizontal. That would be horizontal. It would be awkward. I want you to go vertical, okay? We're going to go we'll make it a little hingy and lungy. So you're going to send your butt back and bend your knees a little. You're going to drop down, and then we're going to take a step forward and chop up to the left. Yep. And then you're going to step back, okay? Drop down, drive your butt back, blocks outside your right hip, drive up to the left. Now, option to just step back and drive right into it like this. Option to take your time resetting and then doing this hip hinge as its own motion. It really doesn't matter, whatever you're feeling like balance-wise, but I do want you to try to really not round your low back at all. You'd be surprised how much you can probably get your butt to stick up a little with some core tension, and you are bending the knees a little, so we're dropping down into it. Good. You're chopping up to the left. Loading into the right hip, and then propelling forward. Beautiful job. So that'll get the heart rate up a little bit. Okay, so take a moment. Maybe you want to swirl it out. Maybe you just need a moment of stillness. I'm gonna let that sensation dissolve. Beautiful. And then we'll play with the other side. So we got left foot in front, right foot in back, right heel up. Okay, now you're kind of more aware of how far back you want your foot. I would say it's probably closer to 1.5 steps now that we've done a few reps, especially for this lunge. And we're gonna go straight down. We're working on that, right? Like an elevator lunge, arms come in line with shoulders. From here, you send your butt back, but stay loaded over your front leg. I didn't emphasize that enough on the other side. You're loaded over your front leg here, finding that glute hamstring tension. You're gonna transition right back down into the lunge. Now get heavy through your left foot, push yourself all the way up. Really use that concept of pushing away from the ground. Okay, so we drop down, arms come forward. We send the butt back, but lean the trunk over that left leg. Find the glute hamstring tension for sure. Before then, you transition back into the lunge. Then get heavy through these feet, especially the left foot. Push yourself up. Great job. We'll do one more. So we're lunging. Then we're sending the hips back, but loading trunk over left leg. Hinging. Good. Then we're going back into our lunge. Then you're getting heavy through the feet and pushing up. Love it. Then you're going to angle your block vertically outside the left hip. We're going to send the butt back and drop down, and then propel forward, chop up to the right. And then option to take your time resetting and then driving back, or you can step back and go right into it if you want to make it a continuous motion. You're feeling fluid. Yeah, so we are driving the butt back and dropping down into a little bit of a lunge. So it's a nice like hingy lunge that we're doing here with a reverse chop. So from left up to right, okay? From left up to right. Good, your front heel's always down, back heel's always up. We'll do one more. Great job. And then we'll make the feet bilateral again. We can look up and then look down. We're gonna round the spine, roll all the way down, plant the palms, step back to high plank, drop the knees, untuck the toes, find a child's pose variation that sounds appealing right now. You can find total stillness or maybe a gentle rocking side to side, see what works. Let everything settle a bit. Let the breath slow down, the heart rate come down a little. Take a few moments here, down regulate a bit. Awesome. And when you're ready, we're gonna make our way back up, climb up on our blocks. So we got one hand on each block. Okay, have your strap or your band somewhat near you. And if we come up and you got to go back and get it afterwards, no big deal. Okay, but from table, we're going to tuck the toes and send the hips up and back to downward dog first. Then you can walk your feet next to each other and extend your left leg all the way up and back behind you. We're going to rock forward with a rounded spine and bring your knee towards your nose, push away from the blocks. We're going to rock back and reach the leg all the way up. And we haven't done this in a really long time, but we're going to rock forward and bring your left knee towards your left elbow. This is more of a classic yogi movement. And then reach the leg all the way up and back. Then we'll rock forward and we'll do left knee towards right elbow. And then reach the leg all the way up. And then rock forward and step your left foot forward in between your hands. And we're going to move the yoga blocks to the highest height. And then if you can grab your strap or band now, you can do that. Or you can just like stand up, go get it, come back, like whatever you need. We're going to be in this position though. I want you to step your back foot in a little so it's not so far back. Your left knee is bent. Back leg is on the straighter side. And we got our band here. Okay. So start to load your trunk and your weight over this left leg. Okay. You're very light in the right. We're just on the ball of the foot, but very lightly. Okay. Beautiful. From here, you're going to rotate. So if you had jeans on, we're going to do the jean analogy. If you had jeans on, you're going to turn your jean zipper in. But when you do that, keep your left knee over your left heel. So your jean zipper turns in and you reach your band to the left and pull your band apart. So your right hip turned to the left. Now you're going to turn your jean zipper out to the right a little bit and just keep pulling your band apart. So I did rotate a little on my foot, but I'm just to the outer edge. I didn't pick up my foot or anything, okay? So now I rotate in, I turn and rotate around my left leg, and then I rotate out, okay? So my hip, knee, and foot turn in over my left femur, and then my hip, knee, and foot turn out away from my left femur. If you want more of a challenge, and it's definitely more of a challenge, you can lift your left heel. Okay, if that throws your balance off too much, just keep the heel down. You'll still get a lot out of it. Lifting the heel just gets the calf involved more, so it's going to be a more intense co-contraction. All the muscles in that left leg, hamstring, glute, quad, and calf. So it will burn. Great job. Let's do one more. Awesome. And then if your heel was up, you can bring your heel down. We're going to spin the back foot down, straighten this left leg, turn your left toes in, and then we'll just tick-tock the hips a little bit. We're going to do some side lunging today with the band. So we're going to shift. We're going to shift into our right leg first. So you're going to push off your left foot, push through, like it's almost like you're pushing yourself to the right, okay? And when you shift to the right, your butt goes back, your knee goes forward, and I hinge a little. So it's like you're opening up your glute in the back, okay? From here, let's go arms in line with shoulders, like this. And then you're gonna rotate to the right with your rib cage and then rotate to the left. It's gonna be weird. Yep, rotate right, rotate left. That's the whole thing. And you're just loaded into this right leg. Your rotation is not really happening at the pelvis, it's at the rib cage. Good job. And then you can just bring the hands down, push through the right foot, come up to center, and tick-tock the hips. Okay, so what less is more with the rotation. It's like you're pulling it apart, you're just getting it to move. Try not to move the hips though. Then you'll go ahead and shift over to your left foot or to your left leg. So left glute goes straight back, left back pocket, back, left knee is forward. I'm loaded over my left leg as much as I can. My jean zipper is actually turned into the left a little. My arms come in line with shoulders. I'm leaning my body a little more into the middle of my left foot, and then I'm just rotating side to side. So going to the right obviously is going to be more restricted. Good. I'm pulling my band apart. Might get into the shoulders a bit. Nice job. And then you can bring the arms down. You're going to push through your left foot, come all the way up. We're going to turn the left toes to face the front of the mat, lift the back heel up, pivot, and then your hips are square. We're going to lose the band and plant the hands down on the yoga blocks. Walk your blocks wherever you need them to make this shape work for you. You can rely on them for sure. And then bring your right knee in towards you. So your knees are going to be lined up here. Knees are going to be lined up here. We're going to do a little bit of a single leg squat variation. So we're going to rock, you might need your blocks even more forward than usual, but you're gonna rock forward and lift your left heel. Rock forward and lift your left heel. And then sometimes we just rock back and drop the heel. Today, you're gonna actually squat down a little as far as you're comfortable. Then push through your foot, stand yourself up, rock forward, lift the heel. My knee is actually a little bit like soft here when I lift my heel. It's my knee's straight, but it's not locked. Then my heel comes down, my body weight shifts back a little bit, and I'm bending my left knee. I'm pushing through my left foot to stand me up. I rock forward. Okay, so it's kind of like our usual weight shift that we do, but we're adding a little bit of a squat in the middle. You just bend your knee. To make it harder, you just get lighter through your hands as you push yourself up out of the single leg squat. Okay, to make it less hard, use the blocks more. Your body weight. Come forward, heel comes up, shift back, heel comes down, squat down, right, stand all the way up. That was awesome. Bring your back foot down, back heel up. We're gonna come off the blocks and roll all the way up. We got one more thing here. It's gonna be part balance challenge, part kind of co-contraction of this whole left leg one more time. So lean your body over your left leg and send your right tiptoes back. Now I'm not actually on the ball of my right foot. I'm literally just on the tiptoe. Okay, so I'm totally on the tiptoe. From here, I want your arms to be heavy, like maybe even shake them out a little. And then bend your left knee a tiny bit. Now connect to the ball of your foot. Spread out your toes, connect to the ball of your foot. And I want you to imagine you were just pushing the ball of the foot down into the ground. Okay. And then we're just going to move the head around different points of the room. So your head and your eye, like your eyes are going to move with your head, and you're just going to move your head like not quickly, but it's like turn, up, down. So you're not like shaking your head all around the place. It's like kind of slow and gentle, but you're just moving your head and your eyes as many different angles as you can while we're loaded over this left leg. Okay, pushing through the ball of the foot, and it should be burning. If it's not burning, something is off. Okay, yep, and you're just moving your head as many different angles as you possibly can. And then from here, we're just gonna round the spine, roll down, plant the palms. Yep, step the right leg back, step the left leg back to meet the right, and then we're gonna lower all the way down onto the belly. You can drop your knees first or not. And we're gonna take a little rest here. So you can make a pillow for your head with your hands, bend those knees, gently sway the legs side to side, just relax. Whole body can be heavy. And then while we're here, we'll visit some of our ankle circles. About 4 or 5 really slow in each direction. Good. Yeah, we'll go both ways. And then we're going to keep it fairly simple down here. So you're going to bring your legs down, and we'll do our palms facing each other. Okay. And we're going to basically just lift the whole body. So you're going to go arms, legs, chest, everything's going to lift. I want you to try to get the arms and the legs a little bit higher. Think of trying to use your hamstrings to get your legs up. It's cool to feel the glutes too, but if you're only squeezing the heck out of your glutes, it's just going to like kind of tighten your pelvic floor, and I want you to feel some hamstring. So try to think of a little lower than the glute to get the leg up. Sometimes just thinking about it can work really well. Okay, and then you can go ahead and lower down. So I just talked for a long time during that pause, but what we're going to be doing really is just a lift, an extra lift with a pause, and then lowering down. Okay, so we won't hold it for that long. So lift, an extra lift with the pause. Try to keep your face, your neck, your jaw, everything relaxed. Notice if you started clenching your face or your jaw or hiking your shoulders up to your ears, just try to let the shoulders can actually gently pull away from the ears. We'll say gently, nothing crazy. Good. And we'll do like one more. So this just gets the whole posterior chain to light up. all the muscles in the back of the body. And then you can go ahead and relax. You can kind of shimmy, dance, shake out the hips, whatever you like. Beautiful. And then we're going to plant the palms next to the chest, tuck the toes. We'll do a knee push-up. So try to drive through your knees and lift your body up flat as a board. Pelvis and rib cage move together. And then we'll just rock the hips back and forth a few times, or maybe you want to shift your hips side to side, something that feels like a little bit of a reset. You can kind of rock back and forth here. And then when you're ready, we're going to climb up on the yoga blocks. Okay, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Then walk the feet next to each other and send the right leg all the way up and back. Okay, we're going to rock forward, round the spine, knee to nose, rock up and back, rock forward, knee to right elbow, and then up and back. And then rock forward, knee to left elbow with the rounded spine. Reach it up and back. And then this time you're going to step it all the way forward in between the hands. You can move the blocks to the highest height. If you're able to, grab your strap or your band, you can grab that. Okay, or you can come up and go back, whatever you need. You're going to step your back foot in. Step the back foot in. Okay, now we're in bent knee position on the right. Pretty much straight leg, but like my left knee is a little soft. I don't have it locked. I am on the ball of my left foot. Okay, my jean zipper is going to turn into the right. So my hip, knee, and foot kind of turn in a little as I reach my strap to the right. I'm pulling it apart, and then I'm rotating open away from my right leg here. Okay, so I'm rotating in. Okay, so pelvis rotating around a fixed femur. Okay, don't try to pick up your back foot. So it's turning a tiny bit with the rest of you, but if you try to pick it up, it's gonna kind of get very confusing. Okay, if you want, you can lift your right heel if that balance challenge is okay for you. Keep spreading through the toes, and that's really gonna light up more in the right leg, but you might not need to do it. Like, you might get plenty of sensation without it. Okay, we are loaded over this right leg. That's key. You don't want to be too upright. You want to stay loaded over your right leg. Good, we'll do one more. And then if your heel was up, you can drop your heel down. We'll spin the back heel down. Good, and you'll straighten this right leg, turn the toes in. We'll tick-tock the hips a few times. Okay, so now we're gonna push off our right foot, feet are straight ahead, okay? And you're gonna straight ahead within the morphology of your pelvis. So if you turn your feet straight ahead and your pelvis does not feel right, it's okay to have them a little turned out, but do your best to have them as straight as your hips allow, okay? We'll say that. Then shift to your left, shift to your left. Great, okay? Now this time we're gonna go here, so arms out in line with shoulders, and we're gonna rotate like this and rotate to the left, and then we're gonna rotate to the right. So it's different than what we did last time. Still rotating, but just totally different. So you're turning your sternum to the left, then you're turning to the right as you stay shifted with your body weight over your left leg. It's actually quite hard. Great job. Then you'll come back to center, arms come down, take your time pushing through the left foot to stand you up, and then we'll tick-tock again. Yep, and so now you're gonna push off your left foot and shift into your right leg, and your right back pocket goes back towards the wall, make it nice and hingy, okay? Your torso is loaded over this thigh, your knee is bent, you're gonna bring your arms in line with your shoulders, okay? From there, you're turning to the right like this. Yep. And then to the left. So it's gonna feel totally different. Again, we're trying to keep this at the upper part of the spine with the rotation. Keep pulling the band apart. Super good job. And then you come back to center. Arms come down. You'll push through the right foot Beautiful. We're gonna turn the right toes back to face the front of the mat. Lose the band, lift your back heel, and pivot and turn back into kind of this runner's lunge, but your hands are gonna come on your blocks. You're probably gonna need to walk them pretty far forward now. And your left knee is gonna come in towards you when you're ready. So your knees are pretty much like lined up here, and you're trying not to round your spine. Okay. From here, I lift my right heel and I shift my body weight forward. So yeah, some weight, more weight goes in my hands for sure. Okay. But then you're going to drop your heel and bend your right knee and sit down as low as you want. Push through your right foot to come back up. Shift your body weight forward, the heel's up. Shift your body weight back, the heel's down. You're bending the right knee, you're squatting down, and then standing all the way up. You don't have to squat very low to really feel this. Something else to play around with is your left hip. Sometimes if you drop it too much, it's not wrong or bad, but you're missing out on some good glute work. So playing with like lifting your left hip a little bit might give some of you a little more glute activation. Good. So this should also burn the right leg for sure. Okay. From there, you'll push through that right foot, bring the left foot down to the ground. We're going to come off the yoga blocks and roll up. We got our one last little balance vestibular challenge here, and going to do a good co-contraction of this right leg. So your right foot's in front, your body weight is loaded over the right. Your left toes, you're on your tiptoes now. Okay, so that's just for balance. We're relaxing the arms. You're bending into your right knee. Now, the ball of the foot is where the pressure is. It's not that your heel's up, it's just the ball of the foot is where you're pushing down. Okay, and then one more time, we're gonna move our head and our eyes in as many different angles and directions as we could possibly think of, and try not to fall over. Okay, so there's just basically infinite places you could look. Up, down. You could look at the collarbones. You can look at the floor. You can turn your head and look behind you. The whole time you're loaded over the right leg, pushing into the ball of the foot. Doesn't take too long. You'll really feel it. Super good. And then from here, we're just going to round the spine and start to roll everything down. Plant the hands. Step the left leg back. Step the right foot back to meet the left. And bring the knees down. Okay, we're going to sit the hips back towards the heels. And we'll do some of our sit and shift. So you can keep your fingertips on the ground in front of you, or you can take your hands to your heart. Really just go with what feels best in your ankles and your knees. But as you shift your hips to the right, try to side bend a little bit to the left. And then as you shift your hips to the left, side bend a little bit to the right. You can just go back and forth like that a few times. Tilt this down a little bit. And then when you're ready, you can take your legs out to one side, and we'll give them a really nice shake on the mat. Yeah, I would bounce them up and down a little bit. Okay, and then you can scoot to one end of the mat. We're gonna go for a little bit of a seated cat-cow. So feet are flat, knees are bent, palms are gonna come on top of the shins. You're gonna pull yourself up. So think of your heels dragging towards your butt and your hands on your shins as leverage, and you pull your sternum up towards the ceiling. You kind of pull yourself up into like more of a proud posture. Okay. Yeah, really see how high you can get your chest to lift up. Yeah. Then you're going to drop your chest, round your spine, and let your rib cage shift as far back as feels comfortable. Don't drop your chin too much. Just keep moving the rib cage back. Good. Breathe in here. Then exhale. Pull yourself up. Think of your chin actually angling towards your chest as you lift your chest up. Yep. And then as you round your spine back, it's not that you're lifting your chin, you're just not dropping it to your chest with you. Good. Let's do one more. Pull up, sternum lifts, and then drop it on back. And then you can transition that into some of your rock and rolls. So if yours are clunky or bumpy, put your blanket. You can either grab onto your legs or not. If you want to add your sternum lift at the top, you can add that in if that feels good for you. Otherwise, you're just staying nice and rounded, and we're trying to smoothen out our roll as best as we can. Awesome. And then from there, we're going to grab our massage ball and we'll do our glute or outer hip. So that's a huge surface area potential for you. So you can explore and play with what feels best to you. But it could be that you're going for more like the center of your glute back here, or you could be more on your side. So either way, you can lay on your back and if you're doing your left side, you're going to cross your left ankle over your right thigh, and you can stick the ball again, like right on your glute, literally anywhere. If you don't feel any tenderness, then just pick it up and put it in a new spot. If you want to do more of the side, you can actually turn your body like this, like onto your side. You could even actually fully lay on your side. You might want to block for your head. But there's no wrong way to lay. Other than you're uncomfortable. Let's say uncomfortable would be in quote wrong, but you can really get creative with how you're laying so that you're on the right spot that you want to work with. So it could be on the side of your hip, more like glute med, TFL, those areas, or it could be more right in the back glute max, the posterior pelvic floor muscles. Like there's just endless options here. Pick your spot, and then we're not really moving on it. If you needed to do like a gentle rocking of your body, you could do that if you felt like you needed it, but otherwise you're just hanging out there, inviting the tissue to soften and relax, trying to kind of calm your breath down, relaxing the face, the neck, the jaw. And if you're on a spot that feels too intense, you don't have to go to the epicenter of sensation, or if you're not feeling a lot of sensation, you can move it around. There will be a spot. There will be, whether it's on the side or in the back. And we'll spend a little bit of time here. And we'll go for like 20, 30 more seconds on this side. And then we'll switch. Okay, so you can always, if you feel like one side is a lot worse than the other, or not worse, but if you feel like you need to work on one side more than the other, you can always do one side longer. But we'll just for class purposes, we did about 2 minutes, so we'll do like about 2 minutes on this side. And it might be the same exact spot, or you might go for a slightly different spot on the other side. So it just depends. Totally depends. A little bit longer on this, about 20 seconds. So this can be a really effective, nice way to kind of calm things down in the body. And even though we're only on, one or two areas, it can actually, have an effect on everything. So sometimes it's nice to wind down with this, to throw it in sometimes. Okay, so then we can just kind of float onto the back, and I would do some really like subtle windshield wipers and see how your hips feel. The subtle ones maintain your big toe, little toe, and heel on the ground. So your knees are only moving a couple of degrees left and a couple of degrees right. And as you do this, see if you can like relax your pelvic floor. If you're unsure, you could do like a quick kind of contraction, and then just let it go, and then try to keep it like that without contracting the front or the back. Good. And just notice if you're able to do that. Nice job. And then we'll straighten the right leg long and bring the left knee over the left hip. And we'll cross the left leg over the right. And we'll just kind of roll onto the side of it. Reach your left arm as far away from your left knee as you can get it. So the left arm's reaching left as the left knee is reaching right. And then you can just roll back onto your back. We'll do it like 2 more times. And then you can bend your knees and scoot your hips to one side of the mat, probably to the right, and then straighten your left leg. Bring your right knee up over your right hip, and we'll do a few of these rotations. So every time you roll a bit to your left, you're trying to lengthen and reach your right hand far away from your right knee as you can get it. And then just rolling back onto your back. Beautiful. And then feel free to go into your happy baby or any other shape, position, adjustment that would feel good to you. Help your practice feel complete this morning. Let yourself be pretty intuitive with it. Let your body lead the way. Any last adjustment you feel like you need or would feel good. And then we'll find our way into any comfortable shape that you like for some final relaxation. Gently rock the head a bit a few times from side to side, just letting go of any face, neck tension. Maybe even you're stretching out the face and opening and closing the jaw a few times. Inviting the shoulders to get heavier, arms and legs. Getting a little more weighted. Feeling for an opening in the chest, a loosening down in the belly. We'll take a few moments to just be. And you can always feel free to stay here as long as you like. If you're ready to make some moves, we'll wiggle fingers and toes. Gently rock the head a bit. And maybe full body stretch or knees into chest. Taking a moment to notice at the end of class now, just getting a general sense of how your body's feeling. Taking a dedicated moment to check in. And then we'll roll over to one side. Come into a seat, and we'll come together one more time. Reach the arms up, grow nice and tall, reach a little further and bring the hands together and down through heart center. We'll bow forward in gratitude for practicing together this morning. It was really, really nice to see everyone. Let me know if you have any questions on anything.